Superhero films take a special place in the hearts of fans with brilliant visuals and riveting storylines, featuring some of the hottest heartthrobs in the industry. Think of Batman's Legacy, Loki's Mischief, or the Avengers Teamwork. Now, you'd be surprised to know that there exists a whole subculture of superhero ripoffs, which, more often than not, fail miserably in every possible way you can imagine. The costumes are cheap patchworks bought online, the cinematography seems to be shot on smartphones, and the director looks like he has been snorting some really hard drugs. These films are actually so pathetic that you want to watch them for a couple of laughs. So let's dive into this universe. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Now, at number 10, we have Italian Spider-Man. Directed by David Ashby, Italian Spider-Man is a Spider-Man ripoff released in 2007. It is a 40-minute short film about this stupid bloke called the Italian Spider-Man. Yes, that's his name. That's how he is referred to in the movie. Now, his superpowers are pretty vague, or maybe it is just his incompetence. The story follows him as he fights Captain Maximum, a villain who can transform into a snake. This happens after an asteroid crashes on Earth. This asteroid contains a substance that duplicates living beings. Professor Bernardi, who discovers the asteroid, believes that only our Italian Spider-Man can handle its power. As the plot unfolds, Spider-Man faces various challenges, including a surfing contest with Captain Maximum, attacks from henchmen, and a final showdown with a giant Captain Maximum. This pathetic mess of a superhero, if you can even call him that, ultimately defeats the villain using a potion made from the asteroid. Now, everything in the film is absurd, random, and intentionally ridiculous. Though the Italian Spider-Man does have a few funny moments and stands out for its originality, most of the jokes simply fall flat. So here are the major takeaways from the film. Microscopes don't work as depicted, and oddly enough, Sin Cara has an unusual fondness for frog porn. Did you know the seven-legged spider on the hero's chest is actually a tribute to a viral email sent by David Thorn? This guy wakes up one day and decides to send an invoice in the email with a shabby sketch. Number 9. Metalman. Directed by Jacob Cooney, Metalman is an Iron Man ripoff released in 2008 with an IMDb rating of 1.5 out of 10. Yes, you heard that right, just 1.5. In the film, Kyle Finn is equipped with a powerful metal suit. This hero comes to be known as the Metalman. With incredible strength and agility, he uses his superhuman abilities to fight evil. So far, so good. His adversary, Reed, commands a gang of ninjas and a menacing mecha terror robot. Now, as the battle escalates, Metalman faces his greatest challenge, where he tries his best to overcome Reed's power-packed gang. This movie is so bad that it is almost enjoyable. The plot kind of seems generic, but then, even generic films can do decently if a basic effort is made. But the film has been allotted a pretty low budget of barely $1 million. The production seems pretty amateur, and the hero looks disturbingly unreal in his red and yellow glistening armor. Someone needs to teach the guy how to throw kicks. He does it with such a dedicated lack of passion that even the villain kinda gives up and stands still. Dude, just man up. You're supposed to be a superhero. You don't have to be a charming Tony Stark, but also don't be a vegetable. As an audience, you want to just take charge and land some punches on this fat-headed duo to stir things up and infuse some life into the scene. At this point, it gets more painful than entertaining, so all of this makes the plot look like a mess, lacking direction, and the film is riddled with out-of-focus shots and poor angles. Special effects are almost non-existent. Why is nobody making any effort at all? Despite its lackluster execution, the film offers a fun, if messy, experience of a metal-suited hero battling villains in a world of oversized ambitions. It is definitely worth a watch for its sheer oddity. At number 8, we have The Amazing Bulk. Directed by Luis Lombardi, The Amazing Bulk is a Hulk ripoff released in 2012 with an IMDb rating of 1.7 out of 10. Henry Hank Howard is a scientist working on a super soldier serum for General Darwin. Our sneaky little dude hopes to earn Darwin's approval to marry his daughter Hannah. After repeated failures, Hank tests the formula on himself, transforming into a massive purple rage monster known as the Bulk. I mean, out of everything, they chose to name it Bulk? Now, Hank must control his monstrous form while fighting off those who want to exploit his newfound powers. With the help of Hannah, Hank faces off against the evil Dr. Werner von Kantlove to save the world. The film follows Hank's transformation and his mission to stop the villain while he navigates his own love life. The Amazing Bulk is so laughably bad that it becomes a masterpiece of unintentional comedy. Or maybe they knew what they were selling. The acting is painfully amateur and more fitting for a YouTube video with a couple of subscribers. It is reported to have been created by just one CGI artist who happened to be on a tight schedule. Again, it just blows my mind that a group of people actually came together and managed to make a film which was terrible. At this point, this incompetence deserves respect for pulling this off. But in spite of its low quality, there is something oddly charming about how everything goes wrong. It's a perfect example of hilariously bad filmmaking. So if you're into ridiculous, low-effort films that make you laugh out of sheer disbelief, The Amazing Bulk is worth a watch. Number 7, Avengers Grim. Directed by Maximilian Elfelt, Avengers Grim is an Avengers ripoff released in 2015 with an IMDb rating of 3.3 out of 10. When Rumpelstiltskin shatters the magic mirror and escapes through a portal to the modern world, he unintentionally pulls 4 legendary princesses from the Disney universe: Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and Rapunzel. With their magical powers intact, the princesses must team up to stop Rumpelstiltskin, who is hell-bent on conquering Earth and enslaving humanity. As they battle the evil Rumpelstiltskin's army of thralls, they face modern-day challenges that they hadn't anticipated before. The princesses must embrace their powers, and using their bond, they must defeat the villain once and for all. The clock is ticking as they race to save the world from the wrath of this villain. This chaotic blend of fairy tales and superheroes is, again, an unintentional comedy filled with cheesy action and bizarre dialogue. I mean, who even thought about it? Honestly, things could have been made spicy. You have 4 helpless dolls from popular lore who come to the modern world. You could have given them more definable powers, some really good action scenes, and shown how these baddies saved the day. But the cast was primarily made up of unpopular actors who were just happy to have got some work. The girls make zero attempt to deliver decent performances. The princesses fail to capture the essence of their fairy tale character essence. Instead, all the performers happily gave in to the film's crappy and slothful nature. Anyway, somehow, this film's chaotic execution makes it a fun watch, especially because the idea is just so absurd. Next, at number 6, we have Three Mighty Men. Directed by William F. Claxton, Three Mighty Men is a Superman ripoff released in 1973 with an IMDb rating of 4 out of 10. Istanbul is in chaos as the villainous Spider-Man leads a gang of crooks. Enter Captain America and the Mexican wrestling legend named El Santo. They are called in to save the day. This 1973 Turkish cult classic brings together two unlikely superheroes to take down the crime wave, with Spider-Man as the ultimate baddie. Oh, and you should definitely check out his suit. It's an absurd patchwork of red and green. It looks like a 5-year-old kid decided to cut eyes out of the mask. Nobody bothered to really stitch it up. Even the actor is in no mood to adjust the mask to complement his features. And then there's a lot of over-the-top action, some cringe-worthy special effects, and a wild plot. Think of superhero antics on a budget. It is so bad, the film is ridiculously fun to watch. Here's the funnier part. Despite being released in the 70s, the film used a 1950s style of special effects, making it feel even more dated. The acting in the film is absolutely bonkers. The stupidity on screen is pure gold. Those zany faces bring a weird kind of hilarity to the cinematography. Their chemistry is off the charts. It's like they know they are in the most absurd film ever made, and they are having the time of their lives. Honestly, it's the perfect example of bad acting done right. Number 5, The Black Knight Returns. An evil corporation decides to unleash the Black Plague on the world. Evan Grail gets recruited by his badass grandfather, Max, into the secret Black Knights. Simon Darth is the villain here. It turns out that he is not only behind the plague, but also the person who killed Evan's parents. Now, Evan suits up in the Black Knight's gear and sets off on an epic mission to take down Simon and his evil army. Their goal is to save the day and maybe even get some revenge along the way. This one is a wild ride of battles, secrets, and some serious family drama. Directed by Christopher Ray, The Black Knight Returns is a Batman ripoff released in 2009 with an IMDb rating of 1.6 out of 10. This cheap knockoff features cringe-worthy fight scenes and weak acting, but it's fun in its own cheesy way. Before we even start to rip this film apart, you definitely need to hear this. The film's titular Black Knight costume was reportedly found in a local thrift store. That's really all the effort that went into producing the film. I mean, tell me one redeemable quality about the film. You've managed to secure quite a bit of funding. It's 2009 and you have computers. But the film fails to deliver in all aspects. So if you're feeling frivolous and want to laugh your guts out, maybe watch this one. Up next at number 4, we have Almighty Thor. Loki destroys Valhalla and steals the Hammer of Invincibility. Thor is now left as the only hope to save the city. Loki kills Thor's father and brother in a failed attempt to retrieve the hammer. So, Valkyrie Jarnsaxa trains the inexperienced Thor. They embark on a quest to retrieve a sword and shield, then head to a city where Loki uses hypnosis and demon beasts to control the residents. Thor must overcome his weaknesses, forge his own destiny, and reclaim the Hammer of Invincibility to defeat Loki and save the city. Directed by Christopher Ray, Almighty Thor is a Thor ripoff released in 2011 with an IMDb rating of 1.7 out of 10. A forgettable, low-budget film with effects that make you burst into a good laugh, this film is a perfect pick for fans of bad movies. The film was actually part of a series of low-budget superhero knockoffs by The Asylum. This movie is a treasure trove of bad filmmaking. It is so absurd that it loops back into being fun. Cody Deal's Thor looks constipated. Richard Grieco, the film's villain, seems confused about what decade he is acting in. He delivers lines with the enthusiasm of someone who has been forced to read the phone book. The plot barely exists, with Thor fighting Loki in random, cheap locations that make you wonder if someone just walked around Los Angeles with a camera. The film is a mess, true, but that's what makes it so hilariously watchable. Number 3. Thunderstorm, the return of Thor. So there's this creepy cult called the Death Risers, and they've got a twisted plan to bring hell to Earth. Hel is the Norse goddess of death. The plot deepens. Thor isn't having any of it, so he taps his descendant, Grant Farrell, and gives him a slice of his godly power. Grant has got the power of the heavens, and he has been given this huge task. He is supposed to stop Hel and her creepy cult from destroying everything. Now it's a race against time, as Grant takes on evil and tries to save the world from total chaos. Pretty epic, right? Directed by John D. Hancock, Thunderstorm: The Return of Thor is obviously a Thor ripoff released in 2011, with an IMDb rating of 2.2 out of 10. This movie is a delightful disaster. It is in fact so bad that it's pretty actually hilarious. It is not based on any comic book. It looks more like an unintentional parody. The sound quality feels like it was recorded in a bathroom. Why does the lighting look so chaotic and fluorescent? The dialogue is a cringe fest that no actor could pull off. The costumes are basic and unoriginal, and the editing feels like one long, shaky cut. With bad acting and no budget, this film is a pathetic dig at the Loki-Thor universe. In fact, hear this out. The movie had to reuse some scenes from other Asylum films due to budget constraints. But that's okay. It is so bad, it's a fun watch. Perfect for laughing at everything that goes wrong in the film. At number 2, we have Rise of the Black Bat. After a crime boss blinds Tony Quinn with acid, Tony is given the ability to see in the dark like a bat. With his newfound power, he takes on the guise of the Black Bat. He is determined to make sure that crime does not pay, and that the scales of justice are balanced once more. Equipped with his dark vision and a thirst for justice, the Black Bat is ready to take down the criminal underworld and restore order to the city. Directed by Joey Vieira, Rise of the Black Bat is a Batman ripoff released in 2012 with an IMDb rating of 1.3 out of 10. This one is a low-budget vigilante film that fails miserably, but there is something oddly fascinating about the film. I think this one actually takes the prize when it comes to the lowest-rated superhero ripoff, and that is what makes it to the top of the list. You know, it has been reported that the film's costume for the Black Bat was made from cheap materials purchased online. It's not just the character and the plot that is a total devastation. The scenes are hilarious. They drag on as if the film is trying desperately to be a film, you know? The direction is probably the worst in human history. They just forgot to hire a lighting team. This is the kind of movie you watch for the laughs. And finally, at number 1, we have Sinister Squad 281, a ruthless and chaotic supernatural cult called the Death's Messengers crashes into Earth. A fancy group of iconic villains is forced to fight these dark forces, but these baddies also have to fight their own dark impulses to win their freedom. After the magic mirror shatters, Alice and her team at Looking Glass team up with notorious villains. Will they be able to stop death from stealing a human body and conquering Earth? The film is wild and chaotic. Amidst this mayhem, villains are trying to be heroes. Sounds like a promising plot, right? But Sinister Squad is peak disaster. Directed by Sean Kane, Sinister Squad is a Suicide Squad ripoff released in 2016 with an IMDb rating of 2.2 out of 10. The film was made in under 6 months to quickly cash in on the success of Suicide Squad. What else can you expect from a half-hearted attempt at a ripoff, right? The plot is pointlessly stretched to practically no good effect. The entire story is obviously just a lazy attempt at stealing from multiple sources, and even then, it fails to do that properly. The performances are very low effort. It feels like watching a bunch of amateurs from the first week of drama school, but some of them actually dive into their roles with quite a bit of dedication, so I'll give them that. Poor kids, their costumes look like some high schooler tried to patch them together with a glue gun. You know, the incompetence is kind of impressive. It makes the film unintentionally comic. It is so batshit cringe that it's almost fun to watch. If you're in the mood for a low-budget laugh ride, this one's a clear winner. Marvelous verdict. These films have gained a fan following over the years simply because of their hilarity, and rightly so. They have weaponized their own incompetence to lock the audience in. These films know that they are bad and they don't even try to pretend otherwise, which makes them create a buzz in town. You can watch these films with friends over good food and booze. You can even prank your superhero fanboy friend with the new Batman movie or the new Loki flick, and they may totally buy it at first. So, the directors did something right in creating this whole new genre of hilariously bad superhero ripoffs, which are so bad that they are actually good. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.